It's James Steinhubel on the Sports Channel on TVU, and we're sitting here with a club and a team from out of town, but they're close by. You know them. They're the Fort Saskatchewan Falcons, and we got Chris Malo and Matt Preville here with us. How you doing, Coach?
Good. Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure.
Excellent, excellent. You guys have been doing some good things for football in Fort Saskatchewan. You're running your virtual camps. Fill us in. How'd that go?
It went really well. We just wrapped it up, and actually we're looking at what we can do to continue with it. And we definitely explored the value ongoing. So even when we can hit the field again, I think we'll be using our online and virtual resources a lot more than we have in the past, for sure, and that coaches have used in the past. So it's definitely a resource we're getting familiar with, and we were able to cover a lot of excellent things with our players.
I'm going to come back to Coach, but I'm interested in that. You know, this is good for football. It's good for the community. What's your view on it?
I got to tell you, the coolest thing, I mean, you know, it was kind of, it was off the cuff and it was based out of necessity. But what we found, at least as a parent, being a participant as well as putting it together, was that this was the best quality time that our kids have had, even before everything sort of shut down. You know, to have an hour once a week where you can sit down with your team and people who care about you and learn something. It's amazing.
So good for football. So without giving it away and your strategic and tactical advantage, because we are on Sherwood Park Television, Coach, what were you finding? What was working? What kind of skills were you able to get across virtually?
Well, I think the thing is we were able to challenge our players to continue training on their own and really hammer home the point that they're responsible for what they're doing in the off season. And even though we couldn't come together for our traditional spring camps that football teams have at this time, that they are responsible for getting out and training. So we did actually put a lot of work in recording videos that we did put up on a YouTube channel that they were able to access, and we were able to review and answer questions for them. And it'll be there for them for the duration of the off season and into the future. I think we're going to use it as a great resource.
It's fantastic. And do you think you're going to get your game film stuff going through Zoom and everything like that? Are you going to get right into it?
Well, I think Matt would agree. We really established the value of it, and we were able to do offensive install, defensive install, talk about different positions and what goes into it and the skills involved. Just get together and have a little bit of camaraderie with the players as well. There's lots of joking around and a little bit of ribbing between coaches, which is always lots of fun. But I think even more importantly, too, we had opportunities to discuss leadership and mental training and certain things that we don't normally have a lot of time to deal with when we're on the field and have the confines of a physical practice. And Wednesday nights were specifically for leadership and mental training. And I think Matt can probably comment on his thoughts on that and how that went. But I felt it went well.
Excellent. So you're getting into leadership training, and you were using the direct virtual environment. Very impressive. It's sweeping the corporate world. So it's so cool that you guys are doing it in football. What did you see, Matt? What was the strength on terms of developing these players too? Getting their video consciousness going, really developing their football personality, which is good for the community. But how about for the team? You're coming in as a coach. Tell us.
I think Chris hit it on the head. When you're on the live field, you're restricted with this amount of time. You want to try to get as much skill stuff as you can in. And you mentioned it, in our conversation earlier, where the culture of football is so important to our kids. And so when you can give that, especially in this crazy time when everything's upside down and they need that's something to hang on to, it really made an impact. And, we're talking about kids that are between, especially the younger guys. Some kids on these calls are 7 to 10. But if they're catching 5 minutes of this stuff, it's setting them up for a great future.
That's so good, and and we're so grateful that you're sharing. So, standouts, defense, offense, special teams. I know you got to think about last year, or hopefuls. who you looking for, and who's showing up virtually, and who's still on the table is someone to look for.
Well, I think from my standpoint, we're looking at a year of transition for the organization as far as we got coaching staffs that are moving up. So we have a Pee Wee coaching staff from last year that's moving up to coach with the Bantams, and an Adam coaching staff that's moving up to coach with the Pee Wees, and an Adam coaching staff that is taking over that has been there. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to be able to do. But our goal really is consistency. To keep consistency is that the coaches are moving up with the players as they're coaching them, so the players are staying with the same coaching staff as much as possible throughout their coaching or playing career with us. And I think we are reaping the rewards of that. At the Adam level, Avery Preville is going to be a standout. He was an exciting first-year player for us. He was a soccer player, and man, if you ever get a chance to see him play, he's got the quickest feet I've ever seen. Like it is phenomenal. At the Adam level, you got a quarterback that was starting as a young player that we just couldn't hold back, and we were able to pass the ball really well. And he's staying at the Adam level as a second-year starter, which is exciting. His name's Gavin Robbins, and they have a running back that I wish I could bring up to Pee Wee with me. I've been coaching him since he was in flag. I've coached him for almost 5 years now. Nathaniel Fuller, and it's been amazing. And so yeah, moving up, like I could talk about a lot of players like the Bantam level. They're just coming off of a championship season. And I think they're looking. They don't lose a lot of players, so they're looking to take the next step in their level and in their competition. So they got a lot of returning players. So it's going to be exciting to see them at Pee Wee. We got some Adam Stadouts. We're going to be young and learning. And I think we got some of our really good players from Adam that are going to be good starters for us. Good returner for us will be Dirk Lochte. He's going to be a second-year Pee Wee for us, so that's exciting, and he's really improved. So
that's good. That's good. And what's your kicking like this year?
Kicking? Well, that's a great question. Kicking's always a roll of the dice in minor football. So I think we like to focus a lot on some of the stuff maybe other teams don't like to focus on, because either it's a misunderstood or more specialized coaching end of things. So I like to, if we can get a good kicking game, it makes a big difference at the minor football level. So we actually have soccer coaches, like Matt's an experienced soccer guy, but I got a good soccer coach that's working with me at the Pee Wee level, and he takes all the coaching duties as far as kicking goes. So, and when you look at passing, like you're looking at like a passing game at the lower levels is not very prevalent. So I spend a lot of time on learning and teaching the passing game, so that it gives us a little bit of an advantage that way. And I think most minor teams are starting to move that way, because they realize if you can get a good passing game, you do have an advantage.
And and your line, your offense and defensive line, you got some big guys in there.
Yeah. The Bantams have a stellar defensive line. Adam, who's defense tackle with the Bantams, I wish I could work with him full time. He's a guy that can take over that offensive backfield and wreak havoc. And when he can get it in his mind that he can dominate, an offense can't stop it, because he's in the backfield just wreaking havoc on everything. So he's exciting. At the Pee Wee and Adam levels, I think we're going to have strong lines. I'm excited about it. We got some veteran players there. At Pee Wee, we have Carson Kanish, who's going to be our starting center, really strong shotgun snapper. He's got some good feet, good blocking skills. So excited, yeah. Very nice.
So you got the pocket, and you got the rifle. Who's on the edge? What do you got for receivers? You got some speed or what?
Yeah, we do. At the Pee Wee level, the standout I'd love to talk about is Alex. He's very good. He's fast.
Good hands on him.
Great hands, and he's coming up from Adam. And yeah, he was our standout receiver for us with Adam, and he's moving up. So the interesting part of that is the adjustment to the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing we talked about in our mental training sessions we had with the players is dealing with fear.
Mm.
And whenever you move up with a level, when you go to Adam to Pee Wee or Pee Wee to Bantam, and any player that denies it is lying, but there's a level of fear. There's a little of anxiousness when you're moving up and you're competing against bigger, stronger, faster kids each time, and you're always wondering how you're going to measure up. And we talked about the mental aspect of how to deal with that. And I think it paid off, and those that were part of the sessions, I think, are going to be better off for it.
That's so good. So Matt, you're jumping in, so you got to have a little bit of fear on the coach side, but on the PR side, you know, how you're going forward and what's the message?
Hey, well, right now I think there's a little bit of uncertainty as a parent. You know, it's been a busy 3 months of doing nothing and just waiting for news. So some good news out of Alberta football and from the provincial government. It's looking pretty good. It's looking like we're going to have a season. Fingers crossed. So if I can say one thing is, you know, a message to the parents: don't forget, you still got to sign up. We still got to get these kids ready to play for September. So if you've got time, even if you're not in Fort Saskatchewan, go check out the videos that Chris has put together on our YouTube channel. Ton of value, and you know what? Just make the time to connect with your players. Right? Football. The coolest thing about our culture is it doesn't just live on the field. It lives with us as we move on. So
that's so good. That's so good. That's Saturday night Zoom Sports here on the Sports Channel and TVU. It's myself, James Steinhubel, and we've had Chris Malo, head coach, Fort Saskatchewan Falcons, and Matt Preville, VP PR, and now Adam coach. That's Falcons too, the Adams?
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I love it.
We're all one culture, and that's what we're working towards. And it's Falcons all the way through. So we're excited about that.
Honored to have you guys.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Have a good night.
Good night.